Alright, what are we doing out here?
Do another Ask Me Monday. I just have to think of what I'm gonna say in my head. Hey guys, welcome back to another Ask Me Monday with Crystal and
Derek
from
Simnett Nutrition.
Look at that, you guys. I'm taking over the Derek show.
Yeah, I know. We're gonna have to actually change the name of this to Ask Us Monday. Just Ask Me Monday. So we've got Crystal here for another Ask Me Monday. You guys seemed to like her input last time, and I think it's nice to have her along as well. So she's back. So Ask Me Mondays is a series of videos I do every Monday. Well, we do every Monday-ish, where we answer some commonly asked questions and some not so commonly asked questions that we get from the comment section down below. So the goal with these is just try to like help you guys find the best health that you possibly can, and even beyond that, the most happiness and the most positivity you can in life. So ask your questions down below. Did you almost fall already?
I almost fell already.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, I've got the questions on my phone as usual, and we're gonna try and fire these ones off pretty quickly because we got out here kind of late today and the sun's going down pretty quickly.
It's really cold.
And yeah, and it's really cold. So we're gonna answer these the best we can, but as concisely as we can. And I think Crystal's gonna ask them as usual.
This is from Arda Grace. I know it's not nutrition related, but I was wondering, do you recycle plastic, paper, and metal?
Yeah, so good question. And we definitely do. We recycle as much as we possibly can. And we know that like there's a lot of plastic and a lot of waste in our like, you know, groceries and stuff that we buy, but we do the best that we can to recycle everything and to be like conscious of the amount that we use. What do you think?
Well, I was trying to think, do we recycle metal? But I guess like if we have like canned beans, that would be considered metal, and we definitely recycle that. I just wasn't sure. In my head, I thought of like metal sheets. I was like, what? Like we don't have metal.
Okay. Serious? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why. Just in my head, it just didn't. I was like, metal? What do you mean metal? But
all right.
So there we go.
Yeah, we definitely do all that, and we also compost. We're lucky enough to have curbside pickup for compost, where the city like, you know, composts it, and then you can actually like go and pick up some of that compost and use it in your garden, which is very cool. But I would like to make my own compost because that would be even better for the environment, because it would, you know, wouldn't require the trucks to be taking the compost somewhere and then, you know, then me going like pick it up and then bring it back to my house. I would like to keep as many nutrients on my property as possible. So if you guys have any links to any videos where they make like their own compost at home, I would love for you guys to link that down below, because I'm thinking of making my own for next year.
The next question is from Mats Matheson. Hi Derek, great video as usual. I was wondering if drinking celery juice on an empty stomach in the morning really helps boost stomach acid back to normal levels. If so, do we know how?
So this is definitely like a medical medium type thing. I don't know if you guys know him, but Anthony Williams, he's a big advocate of the celery juice. And I've heard it before, and I've read the thousands and thousands of testimonials from people that have experienced, you know, better digestion and a lot of other positive health benefits from drinking celery juice first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. So I looked into it as much as I could, and I couldn't find any studies that were like directly on celery juice and it impacting our digestion and improving the acidity in our stomach. So, you know, I can't really speak on that.
Oh, this is interesting.
Yeah, we gotta go around. So the theory behind it is that like some of the salts, the naturally occurring salts that are in celery juice are, you know, will help us to rebuild our own natural bile salts and other digestive enzymes that are in our stomach. And I mean, I don't know, I don't think it's impossible that that's kind of how it works, but there are definitely like proven health benefits to drinking celery juice, or at least consuming celery. One of them is it being high in naturally occurring nitrates, and those are amazing components that help to lower our blood pressure. So it's definitely like a good thing, and we have actually been drinking celery juice in the mornings lately just to give it a try, and I quite like it actually. And the craziest thing that I've noticed about it is it gives me the craziest pumps at the gym, like skin tearing, like, you know, muscles. It's unbelievable, and that can definitely be attributed to the high nitrate content. But then I think beyond that, there are definitely some proven anti-inflammatory compounds that are in celery as well. So that could also lead to it like helping with our digestion. And it has some minerals in it that are gonna be, you know, that are gonna act as electrolytes and gonna be extremely hydrating. So I think that it can't hurt, that's for sure.
And I'm probably like 5 or 6 days away from getting my period, and I don't have any of like the crazy, I would have like water weight, or I would feel like a little like, you know, we all know those feelings where you're like, I'm a big tub.
Not all of us.
But I haven't noticed anything like that, and we've been doing it for probably about, what, 2 weeks now?
No, I don't know, like quite that long, maybe just over
I don't know, we kind of like intermittently were doing it, and now we actually bought like a case of celery, and we just bought another case, and
yeah, I'll keep you guys,
yeah, I really like it.
keep you guys posted
really
on how it goes.
Another question from Monica Marie Lesson. What do you guys eat during Thanksgiving? I'm heading to my non-vegan parents for the holiday. Need some good dish ideas to make veganism look good. We already had our Thanksgiving, but I do know the American Thanksgiving is coming up, so that's why we wanted to talk about this.
Yeah, exactly. So I think you're definitely taking the right approach. Like, I never even ask when I'm going to dinners anymore, like, oh, can I bring something? I just bring something, because that way, like, you know, you show up and it just seems generous, and you know there's gonna be something delicious there for you to eat, and if it's like amazing and delicious and bright and colorful, it'll look good on, you know, the vegan diet or the plant-based diet for everyone else that's there, and they'll probably enjoy it and be like, huh, I can probably incorporate more plants into my lifestyle. So I like where you're coming from. So one of the things that we do is
we usually, what do we do? I don't know what you're trying to lead into. Last time, like for Thanksgiving, or Canadian Thanksgiving, we made an apple crumble, which was so good. And then we made baked Brussels sprouts. Remember that dish?
Yep.
I would suggest going on some websites like Minimalist Baker. Her recipes are fantastic, like crowd pleasing, pretty amazing.
Yeah. I think like a huge baking tray full of like roasted veggies with some spices and stuff on them can never go wrong. No. And like, so just put a whole bunch of yams, sweet potatoes, carrots in there, chop up some onion and fire it in there with some other spices, and everyone's sure to like that.
Something maybe like on the sweeter side, because you know you always have like a dessert after, like pumpkin pie or kind of, and that can just go in addition to what you guys have, but it's kind of nice to bring because then you don't feel left out, but it's also nice to show other people that like vegan food can be like really freaking good and doesn't have to be just vegetables, you know?
Yeah. And sometimes when I'm bringing food for other people that I know don't have quite the refined taste buds that we have, I might add like a little bit more like salt or add some more sweeteners and stuff if it's like a dessert or whatever, just to make it a bit more palatable for everyone. Just a little cheat, you know.
Ooh-wee.
Yeah, I know, this is as far as I got last time. I don't know if we have to go down there.
Wow, that's like really, is this a mountain biking trail?
Yeah, I know.
Scary.
But the view is so beautiful here. Definitely heard like something loud. Did you hear that?
I definitely heard something loud and I'm a little nervous. I thought maybe it was a mountain biker, but definitely not. My goodness.
Oh no, this might be too steep. Decided not to go down there because it was definitely a bit too dangerous.
This is from Madeline, and she says, what are your suggestions for Canadians who live in the most vile winter conditions for staying active in the winter? Any tips for motivation for staying active apart from the gym, like for the rest of the day and rest days?
So I can totally sympathize with you because I know what it's like. I mean, here on the West Coast, we get a lot of rain in the winter and it does get cold, but luckily enough, we don't get like a ton of snow. But I totally feel you, like the days are short and the weather's crappy. And I did grow up out east in Ontario, near Toronto, and our winters were like bitter cold out there as well. So I totally know what it's like. And I know that Winnipeg is even like further north and closer to the center of Canada, and it's even colder there. So I feel ya. But like, the one thing I think that helped me is just like spend some money on some good equipment, whether it be, you know, the right type of running shoes or like, you know, thermal pants and jacket, stuff like that. Or if you have like a mountain bike, they definitely like have snow tires and stuff for mountain bikes. Like just get like proper gear and invest in that. And that might inspire you to get outside a little bit more. Like not just the fact that you're spending like money on it, but the fact that you'll be more comfortable when you're out there. And I know it seems like a hassle to do in the beginning because you gotta like, you know, spend money, but I promise you it's worth it. It totally is worth it in the end. Crystal, do you have a suggestion for that as well?
So unlike Derek, I do not want to leave the house when it's cold and snowy. So yeah, you could get some really good gear. I thought in my mind, investing in some stuff that you can use at home, like inside your home, resistance bands, maybe like dumbbells. I also thought of like an indoor bike, because then on either a rest day or the days where you can't maybe go outside because it's really bad out, you can at least do some type of activity at home. You can even do body weight exercises, like Fitness Blender has some great HIIT kind of style workouts that you can do at home and get like a good sweat on.
And something that I always remind myself of before I'm like, you know, make that decision not to go outside is like, it's always worth it. No matter like how crappy it is outside, or like how cold it is, or how snowy or whatever, I always feel good when I get back. And I always say that in my head when I get back, even out loud. I'm like, man, it was so worth it for me to get out there today. So just know that it'll be worth it 100%.
Like even like right now, it's chilly out, kind of cold, would be nice to be in a warm house. But we're having a great time.
This is nothing like Winnipeg though.
No, I know, but I'm just saying. I have another question. This is from Paul. Hey Derek, what about drinking while eating? My mom stopped drinking while eating because it would thin down the digestive juices. What do you think about that?
So I think your mom is definitely partly right. If you drink too much liquid just before your meals or during your meals, it'll definitely like dilute your stomach acid. So I would say to just drink, you know, try not to drink more than like a glass of water, you know, throughout your meal. You know, you can have some though. It's not that any water is gonna completely dilute your stomach acid. But another thing you could do is definitely like have something that will encourage an increase in stomach acid production, like lemon water or some apple cider vinegar and water before your meal. But yeah, as long as you're staying hydrated throughout the day, there's no reason why you need to drink when you're eating. So if she feels good doing that, that's okay.
This is from Chameleon569. We keep hearing that calcium supplements are not good, yet all plant milks are fortified. Isn't that the same thing? Wondering if you could talk about it. Thanks a lot. That's a good question.
Yeah, I know, it is. I almost didn't want to answer it because I don't really know the answer entirely, but like, okay, so there's a couple things that we have to consider. There's lots of different types of calcium that they use in supplements, some being more absorbable than others. And like the real worry is having lots of calcium like floating around in our bloodstream without anywhere to go, without it being like driven into our bones. And if you're taking like a high dose calcium supplement, like, you know, 600 milligrams or 1,000 milligrams or whatever, and you're not taking any supporting nutrients with it, like vitamin D, which we know, you know, helps calcium to be absorbed, and also like magnesium and a few other things. You know, if you're just having it like that, then yeah, it could probably lead to some issues. But as far as the amount that's in almond milk, I don't really think it's gonna be too much of a problem unless you're just like chugging a whole bunch of almond milk. But I know I've heard Dr. Greger talk about this before in some of his Q&As that he does. And he seems to be an advocate of like the plant-based milks being fortified with calcium. So yeah, I don't really know. I know a lot of plant milks do have like vitamin D in them. Even if it is vitamin D2, it's still gonna help the calcium to be absorbed, and chances are you're gonna be having it with like a smoothie or with oatmeal or something like that, and that's gonna have some magnesium and other nutrients in it that are gonna help the calcium to be absorbed too. So if it's not something that you want, you could always make your own almond milk, and I do have a video on my channel on how to make your own almond milk, and just about everybody else on YouTube has a video on how to make your own almond milk as well. Man, it's so mossy up here. I love it. That's not grass, that's all moss. Look at it.
This is from George. Hey Derek, what's your opinion on Himalayan salt comparing with sea salt and usual table salt? Which one is better, and should we consume any kind of salt? Thanks.
Yeah, so this is a very interesting question because, you know, a lot of the doctors that promote the whole foods plant-based diet, like Dr. McDougall and a few of the others, they advocate no salt added to the diet at all. Where I don't think that's all that realistic. Like, at least for me, I know that if I have a sprinkle of salt on my food or in some sauces or something, I eat so much more of the good stuff. So it's not that we should totally avoid having salt in our diet altogether, but I think trying to like reduce our salt consumption is definitely like a good thing because it's in everything. Like if you look at canned beans, you know, there's already like a few hundred milligrams of salt in there, and then you go and add salt to the meal, and then maybe you have some like processed meats or something, or like fake meats or whatever with it, then you're gonna be adding more salt to it as well, and you can get pretty high in your salt intake doing that. So I think that for the most part we should be trying to minimize the amount of salt that we use. And definitely when I'm cooking, I don't add salt to the food when I'm cooking. I wait till it's done and then I taste it, and then I decide if I want to add salt to it, because sometimes the food tastes good enough that I don't have to add to it. And when you do cook with salt in there, it tends to like lose its flavor a little bit. Like it loses its punch. You have to use a lot more salt when you're actually cooking with it than if you were to put it on your food after the fact. But as far as like what kind of salt to use, I think that would depend more on like your diet. I mean, iodized salt has helped a lot of people ward off like thyroid problems, and that's just like your traditional like iodized table salt. But I don't think that that's like a really healthful food. I think it's better if we can have some sea vegetables in our diet to account for that iodine. But if you're not having any of it at all, any iodine, then that might be a good thing for you to include in your diet. And then as far as like the pink Himalayan salt and the like Celtic salt or whatever it goes, like, yeah, maybe it does have like a lot of minerals in it, but we shouldn't be having enough of this salt for it to like make up any significant amount of minerals like in our diet. But you guys might have a different opinion. I'm sure you do. Salt is like a real polarizing topic. So definitely let me know in the comments down below if I am wrong, because I might be. But I'm still gonna continue to have some salt in my food, no matter what you say, Dr. McDougall. Because
we usually have dulse in place of iodine. So we will use, the salt we have at home is, I think, Himalayan, or it's the pink salt?
Yep.
Is it the sea? Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know, sometimes I think these things are really well marketed to be like, oh, it's a healthier one, but I think it depends on where it's from. But I will say that iodine is extremely important for women and their menstrual cycle. I'm all about that. And so you need to have a source of iodine in your diet. So if you're not eating dulse, and iodized table salt is like your only form that you're getting, keep it in your diet. Like, it's not a bad thing, you know?
So, next question. We got one more?
We have one more question.
Man, it's so nice out here, right at sunset.
This is an interesting one. Daniela?
That says Daniela.
Daniela.
100%.
Well, there's no double L, babe. Hi guys. I do have a question for next Ask Me Monday, and it's a weird one. Is it true that after years of becoming vegan, the body odors disappear? One of my friends stopped using deodorants years ago and washes his hair once every 2 or 3 weeks, and I swear he smells like roses. Oh, that'd be nice to smell like roses.
Yeah. So
I'm not on that level yet. I don't know about you.
No, I think this can depend on a few things. Like, yes, as we know, vegan diet is like a broad term, and it can include many different types of foods. So I think if you're eating like a lot of really like pungent foods like garlic, different spices and onion, then I think that you're gonna have a bit more body odor than someone that's maybe eating like a purely fruit-based diet, or one that doesn't include any of those sort of pungent flavors. And I think it also has to do with like our own personal bodies as well. Like, but I know that like I can go a pretty long time without showering. Like, this might be too much information, but without smelling like horrible. And it obviously depends on like my activity level, how much I'm sweating, what time of the year it is. But yeah, like sometimes I have to be reminded to have a shower. Chris will be like, when was the last time you had a shower? And I'm like, I'm going right now. But as far as like the no shampoo goes, that's a really interesting thing. Like if you stop using shampoo for a little while, eventually your hair starts to become accustomed to that, and it doesn't stay like really greasy. Like, I hardly ever shampoo my hair, and I'm definitely not like an advocate for like the best hair ever, but it never, you know, is like overly greasy or anything like that. And I do shampoo it occasionally, maybe like similar to your friend, but not every single shower, and I don't have any problems with it like smelling or anything like that. Although never, like, I can't really smell my own hair, but I'm sure you would tell me.
No, it's yeah, perfect.
Roses.
It's roses. I will say, if I may, I will say that I went through, like when I first transitioned to veganism, I definitely went through eating mostly fruit, and that was a period when I felt really great, and I also like had no body odor. It was pretty crazy. I remember I just like didn't smell when I sweated. But I'm not advocating doing like 100% fruit based or doing anything like that, because obviously I don't eat like that anymore because it was very difficult for me to keep my calories up. But with that being said, I can see how your friend, if he was eating very like clean, pure diet, wouldn't have body odor. Yeah, especially coming from maybe like a standard American diet too. Like, you would notice that things clear up pretty quickly. But during the detoxification process, things can definitely be different, I think, and you could smell really bad. I've done no poo for, I did no poo for a really long time, like no shampoo, and it was fine, except that my hair is like long but wavy, and it became really dry. It's still like pretty dry at the ends, and that's just like my hair. So I think some people's hair responds differently to like not being shampooed. I definitely have to like condition my hair for it to be even manageable, and so I've been doing that in the last few months. But yeah, interesting. We're all different, right?
Yeah. So that's it for this week's Ask Me Monday. Thank you guys so much for the questions. I appreciate it. Thank you, Crystal, for coming out and hanging out with us and always contributing.
I know you're just rolling your eyes in the background. You're like, "Okay, she's talking for so long." But I just wanna have a little input too. Different being a girl.
No, it's great. That's why we bring you along. I appreciate it. So thank you guys for watching all the way to the end. I do definitely appreciate it. I know it's only the most hardcore of Simnett Nutrition followers that watch the Ask Me Mondays, so I do appreciate it, but I know you guys love them, and that's why we keep doing them, and I love sharing the knowledge that I have, and I love learning from you. So definitely comment down below if you disagree on anything that I've said, or if you agree on it. If you have any questions for next week's Ask Me Monday, put them down below in the comment section. Hashtag them AMM, so then it's easy for us to find. And I'll see you guys soon. Just remember to get out there. It's gonna be worth it in the end. I promise you guys. Much love. See ya.
Bye.